Good afternoon. I'm Pieter Spanoghe and working like most of you from home. I belong to the Department of Plants and Crops, and I was asked by the faculty to talk about crop protection from a viewpoint of integrated pest management. As this presentation is pre-recorded, I first want to check with you. Can everyone see my screen? Say yes in the chat. Okay, thank you. Here we go. Integrated pest management at the Faculty of Bioscience Engineering. I believe you all know this triangle. And instead of starting with the top chemical control, we should first go and move to the prevention level at the bottom. We have to check agronomic practices such as crop rotation, intercropping, or protection of the beneficials, which will already allow less pressure of pest and disease and weeds. If this is okay, then you move to the second level of the monitoring, because this monitoring will tell us if you have to move to the third level of intervention. Forecasting and warning systems will help you to decide what to do. You can choose between mechanical and natural control and also biological control, but the last step is chemical control. All these aspects are addressed at our faculty, and that I want to go and say a couple of words more about it. Integrated pest management of insects and mites are addressed by Professors Thomas van Leeuwen and Patrick de Klerk. They are fascinated by the mode of action of modern active substances. They follow up resistance developments, and they also evaluate new compounds in greenhouses, vegetables, and ornamentals. Not only the chemicals, but also, and in fact even more today, studied are the biological control agents. And then you have to check if you can combine them with the chemical pesticides, and if there is no risk associated with them. So you can understand that we are not happy if we have invasive alien species around us. Patrick and Thomas were glad to present one of their research projects. The pest Aculops lycopersicii has a worldwide distribution and is mainly a problem in tomatoes. This pest is difficult to detect due to the mite size. Hence, early symptoms of infestation are easily missed by tomato growers. The mite also has a very fast development. It takes less than a week for a new generation. Looking at the control of the mites, you can choose for chemical control, but also for biological control. And that was the main search for a new natural enemy. The Eulinidae is a family of small predatory mites. They found one, Pronimatus ubiquitus. It is a species from this family, and it is now considered a successful new natural enemy for these pest mites. Professor Giesmacher is well known for his work on pollinators, and more specifically the bumblebees and the solitary bees in agriculture and nature. If you have a question regarding bee health, diagnostics, epidemiology, pollination, nature conservation, and climate change, he will be glad to help you. Next to his work on pollinators, the physiology of insects, RNAE, CRISPR, and risk assessment of the use of pesticides on beneficial insects are considered in his work. Turning to our work on plant health and plant diseases, Professor Monica Höfte clarifies the steps she takes in her lab regarding integrated, and I must say integrated, disease management. After isolation out of symptomatic plant materials or disease can be present in soil, she identifies plant diseases with microscopy and molecular techniques. You can contact her and her research group for pathogenicity tests to study plant pathogen interaction and for the screening of new biological control agents. In fact, these days, more attention goes to a system approach of prevention and action. In this approach, we make use of hygienic measures and resistant cultivars. We also aim to ensure good plant health and take action by using biological control agents. Fusarium head blight. Fusarium head blight causes direct and indirect losses due to lower yields and mycotoxin contamination. You know, the DON levels coming from the mycotoxins. It is one of the concerns addressed by colleague Professor Geert Hazard and his team. During nearly 20 years, a dataset of more than 10,000 data points was building up based on weather data, crop husbandry such as variety of the crop, nitrogen fertilization, soil management, and crop rotation. Disease symptoms and mycotoxin contaminations have been recorded. And then we used machine learning. He used machine learning for constructing a holistic predictive model. It can predict the disease index and the DON level. If the outcome of the prediction assesses a DON level higher than the European limit, advice on the right use of fungicides is given. Other work of Professor Hazard regarding warning system is the developing of a warning system for pests in wheat. The research group does observation of the appearance of beetles in spring, the number of eggs on leaves, you see it in the graph, the number of larvae, weather data, and crop husbandry. The model predicts well the moment of appearance of the larvae and the estimated peak of these larvae pressure. Taking into account the economic threshold, they can determine in field and greenhouse experiments. They give advice to wheat growers for the use of the right insecticides at the right moment. Professor Benny de Kouwer focuses on weed control, and this in non-crop and in cropland areas. Non-crop weed prevention actions are studied, for example, here on pavements through the optimal choice of innovative weed suppressing joint filling materials, so in between the paves, and also the choice of the right pavers. For curative weed control, in this non-crop situation, it is important to combine the right weeding tools and to keep the treatment frequency as low as possible. Moving to cropland. The main goal in cropland is the reduction of the seed bank. It can be done using false seedbed strategies and or biofumigation. Identifying the time when the plants are most vulnerable for treatment is challenging. Even also knowledge is required about the treatment intervals. Indeed, for the control of perennial weeds that come back every year, a depletion strategy with the right time intervals is required. We see in the pictures that in Benny's research, individual methods are combined to obtain good control efficacy and to avoid selection pressure while keeping the environmental impact low. More weed control with less active substances. In the pictures you see flamers, hot water machines, brush weeders, and we also see a Fleckstein harrow weeder operating on a false seedbed. He also showed a picture of the dose response curves of seedlings treated with herbicides at 4 different growth stages. Since the 1980s, there is a steep increase in the number of herbicide-resistance biotype worldwide. It is important to know how to avoid herbicide resistance development, as that increases the lifespan of the use of any herbicide. The research group studies the underlying resistance mechanisms and the herbicide sensitivity profile of the resistant biotypes. This helps you to choose the right weed control options. Together with Professor Jan Pieters, Benny finally focuses on the 3 main components of what we call precision weed control, namely sensing, decision-making, and precision spraying. Their research has proven that multi- and hyperspectral sensors can distinguish quite similar plant species. Decision rules also are required in precision weeding. You have to check your soil, and you see it in the picture. A soil with a high clay and/or carbon content will require a higher dose of active herbicides compared to a soil with a lower clay and carbon content. You see the plants are surviving with the same dose of herbicide. There's also a need for precision spraying. And then we look at what's the effect when you change a nozzle type. At least the spray volume is different, or you have to increase or lower the spray pressure. And that is what we do nowadays when you apply with a variable rate. Will it affect the bioefficacy of weed control? Talking about pesticide application or journey through the research of a crop protection division ends with me. I'm head of an analytical lab, and I can analyze pesticides and alternatives in soil, water, and air. This slide shows as an example the outcome of residues we found in the pollen of apple and cherry orchards, to which in fact the solitary bees are exposed to. This work will lead to a better estimate of the pressure of pesticides on these type of pollinators and will result also in the development of a risk indicator. Having in-house experience on how to formulate active substances and alternative products for leaf application, so application on the plant, we decided 2 years ago also to work out more research regarding seed treatment and seed coating. Both formulation actions help to reduce the amount of pesticide or the amount of chemical or alternatives needed to protect your crop efficiently. As a university, we may propose all kinds of nice solutions for the farmers, but at the end of our research, we need to transfer this knowledge to him so he can use it in the field. I coordinate 2 European projects named Rachnos and Eureka. And in these projects, we believe that the future of innovation in European agriculture and forestry is based on the improved, and then we say digital exchange of best practices between farmers, foresters, researchers and advisors from different sectors and from different member states. Together with the consortium partners, we built the European Farm Book, which will be launched later on this year. It combines the word of trusted material, like you will find in Wikipedia, but in fact will come from European projects. And we combine that with the multimedia channels or the way of communication we have today. I can't close this presentation without drawing your attention to our yearly symposium on crop protection. It is the oldest symposium on crop protection in the world. I know you are perhaps too late to still submit a paper, but you are warmly welcome to attend the meeting itself next month. Researchers worldwide do present the scientific word on crop protection, and this work is in fact nowadays considering all aspects of integrated pest management. Voila, we are at the end. As I am in favor to be contacted by email, I also posted the right email addresses of my colleagues over here. Do not hesitate to contact us.